President Tinubu approves establishment of compressed natural gas initiative to ease impact of fuel subsidy removal. Correspondents set agenda for new ministers ahead of inauguration of Federal Executive Council.
If you have somebody with a security sector background, it will be more effective.
Moving with technological advancements, NIPOST test runs digitized postcode for tracking addresses within the country.
Of business development, terrorism, financing, and so many things are happening. We are unable to get them.
Hello and welcome to the Network News on NTA. I'm Najat Atutujani. Joining me from Lagos is Adiola Komiakiri. Remember that you can watch this newscast live on our website, nta.ng/live. Do remember to also follow all our social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has pledged his administration's commitment to leveraging the domestic utilization, processing and international export of Nigeria's massive gas resources as a transition fuel to catalyze the fundamental restructuring of the nation's economy for expansive growth. The president reiterated his commitment to developing the sector when he received the board and management of the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Limited at the State House. State House correspondent Musbau Wahab reports.
You will get exploration, development of gas from West Africa to Europe. We will compete with Russia. We will make money for Nigeria.
President Tinubu long saw the potential in the domestic gas and ready to harness it. Nigeria has about 206 trillion cubic feet of gas in reserves and aims to multiply it in the nearest future. The plans are already in the works with the ongoing Trans-Saharan pipeline project targeting the European markets. Locally too, the demands are growing for electric power, automotive and domestic among other uses as gas comes handy as transition fuel to cleaner energy. But along the way, there have been two subsisting challenges in the subsector, major as they are intertwined.
For us, just two words will describe it: security and gas supply. They go together. And handle security, that will unlock more gas to plants. We can produce at a higher capacity and we make more revenue. We pay our taxes, huge amounts of taxes and dividend declarations. All that will have an upshot if we can tackle those two major problems.
Visiting the president for the first time provides an opportunity for the Nigeria LNG Limited to bring the issues to the table. But the president is fully aware of them as he has declared intention to convert the potential in the subsector to prosperity with the establishment of a Ministry of Gas Resources. President Tinubu affirmed that all encumbrances to the entrepreneurial progress and development of Nigeria's industrial citizens, as well as other impediments to business practice in the oil and gas sector, specifically, will be swiftly removed to create more opportunities for Nigerian companies and international partners to thrive on the natural and human resources wealth which God has bestowed upon the nation. And after their meeting, the assurances from the president were apparently satisfactory. LNG Limited says Nigeria's consumption of the natural gas has increased by over 1,000% in the last 15 years. And so too must investments be now multiplied to meet the needs and most importantly to cash in on the growing global markets. From the State House, Musbau and Wahab, NT News.
President Bola Tinubu has approved the establishment of the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative to transform the transportation landscape in the country, targeting more than 11,500 new compressed natural gas-enabled vehicles and 55,000 CNG conversion kits for existing PMS-dependent vehicles. The presidential initiative will also bolster in-country manufacturing, local assembly, and expansive job creation through a nationwide network of workshops focusing on mass transit and student hubs aimed at reducing the cost of transportation in the immediate and long terms. These workshops will also ensure widespread access and demand-side utilization of CNG technology and CNG-related expertise to facilitate smoother transitions for vehicle owners and comprehensive training for newly employed staff, creating new opportunities for technical skill development and employment for Nigerians at the wider benefit of the economy. The launch of this initiative also underscores the administration's commitment to fostering cleaner environment by reducing carbon emissions and promoting energy security through the utilization of domestic natural gas resources. And to discuss this exciting new prospect of using compressed natural gas is the Secretary General of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Umar Babakanu. Welcome to our studios.
Thank you very much.
Now, what do you think of the establishment of the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative, considering all the benefits that have just been outlined?
Yeah, it's a welcome idea. We thank Mr. President for taking these bold steps. Generally, as you know, the compressed natural gas is has cleaner energy and is more cost-effective. And just to mention but a few. Generally, the compressed natural gas, if at all put in place, it's not maybe just the establishment. The real establishment of the initiative is what matters, because we need people who knows the real nitty-gritties of the whole thing, as in the people within the industry, real stakeholders, so that we might see the project might see the light of the day. Generally, if you see some of the committees, I mean, when the establishment of the committee comes, we need people who knows the real industry to be put in the committee.
So expertise is needed in this area, as it's sort of a new area.
Yeah.
Not so new, but it's in need of experts.
Yeah.
Now, that has also been addressed.
Yeah.
But one other plus in this initiative is the creation of jobs. What do you have to say about that? How do you see it playing out?
Yeah, it will create more jobs, because you are going to put the CNG skid, the CNG conversion kits. The good thing about it is that you already have the infrastructure through IPMAN. We have the filling stations where you have the lube bay, where you can put the conversion kits, and you have the filling station where you can just put up your skid, and then it's just more or less plug and play. There's nothing much to worry about in terms of maybe infrastructure. And apart from the people we already have on our payrolls as employees, we add more, because this is another thing coming up to members that will benefit. So generally, it will translate to creating more jobs.
And what about the potential impact on transportation in particular and the microeconomy in general?
Yeah, as you said, generally, if you see the CNG, I mean the gas products are cheaper than the petrol, as in the hydrocarbon fuels. So if at all you have something cheaper, it will translate to the general public in terms of maybe cheaper transport rate and the cleaner energy, controlling the pollution, just to mention but a few.
So thank you very much. I have more questions, but I guess we'll have to wait and talk with you another time to address all these other issues. I've been speaking with the Secretary General of IPMAN, Umar Babakano on the compressed natural gas initiative by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The All Progressives Congress is intensifying efforts ahead of the off-cycle governorship elections in Kogi, Imo and Bayelsa states, the crux of a tripartite meeting of stakeholders, including APC governors, the party's governorship candidates in the three states, and the national chairman of the APC, Abdullahi Umar Ganduji.
We had our meetings, part of our consultations, and also used the opportunity to listen to our national chairman, who came to brief us on the activities of the party and the proposed reforms intended to carry out in the party. So it was just a family discussion. And inclusive is also preparation for the upcoming governorship election in 3 states.
Political correspondent Salihu Gwanara reports that 14 APC governors attended the meeting held behind closed doors. The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has dismissed appeals filed by Senator Smart Adeyemi and the governorship aspirant of the All Progressives Congress in Kogi State, Abubakar Achimugu, seeking to nullify the governorship primary election of the APC, which produced Ahmed Usman Ododo as its candidate for the November 11 Kogi State governorship election. Justice Muhammad Lawal Shaibu, who led the three-man panel of justices of the court in a unanimous judgment, held that the two appeals challenging the verdict of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja lacked merit, as the former lawmaker, Smart Adeyemi, failed to prove the criminal allegations in his case. Justice Lawan also held that the burden of proof lay with the plaintiff, who alleged irregularities in the conduct of the primary election of the APC for the nomination of its governorship candidate, also holding that the appeal lacked merit and was also dismissed. In the same vein, the Court of Appeal Abuja dismissed Achimugu's appeal against the judgment of a Federal High Court sitting in Abuja, which affirmed Ahmed Usman Ododo as APC candidate in the governorship election in Kogi State. Upon assumption of office on May 29, 2023, President Bola Tinubu promised to implement wholesale reforms that would turn around the socio-economic fortunes of the country. Many Nigerians believe that a knowledgeable, impartial judicial officer is necessary for driving the said government reforms, and the advocacy for the appointment of a thoroughbred justice minister has been advocated. Olabode Arewa reports.
Section 150, Chapter 6, Part 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, establishes the position, authority, and functions of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice as the Chief Law Officer of the Federation. Aside from the requirements for holding the office, which include, and not limited to, at least a 10-year cumulative experience in legal practice, other functions of the office are representing and advising the President, as well as the different ministries, departments, and agencies at the federal level on appropriate legal steps to take on issues of law.
The only guiding principle specific for those duties or functions is what is in the interest of the public interest, public good. So the Attorney General has a duty when acting to act first in the interest of the public. When he's advising the President, he has a duty to take into consideration what is the interest of Nigeria and Nigerians, not the interest of his political party alone. And this is where it becomes the issue of whether the same person should act as Attorney General and also act as Minister.
Experts in legal matters advise the government to insulate the important office from political interference.
Whatever the Constitution empowers the Attorney General to do is what I believe that should be done. So anything that is not provided for by the Constitution, especially when the Constitution clearly says that his functions must be with regard to public interest, justice, and to avoid the abuse of legal processes. So my advice to him would be not to do anything that is not going to be in the justice of the public interest, and not to abuse court processes or legal processes.
They also emphasized the need for the incoming Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice to press on with the ongoing reforms in the justice sector nationwide, particularly critical areas like prison decongestion, modernization of the country's statutes, and virtual court proceedings. In Abuja, Olabodarewa, NTA News.
Up next, NIPOST to launch pilot phase of digital postcode by October this year. Details and more after these messages. Stay tuned. Thanks for staying tuned. We're talking police affairs now, and stakeholders in the policing sector are optimistic that the minister appointed by the Tinubu administration to oversee police affairs will build on the existing gains of the last administration. Francis Form gives us an insight into these expectations.
In an effort to strengthen the internal security architecture in the country, the federal government on the 21st of August 2019 re-established the Ministry of Police Affairs out of the Ministry of Interior to initiate, formulate and implement policies and programs relating to policing and internal security, as well as provide supervision and administrative support to the Nigeria Police Force, the Nigeria Police Academy (UDIL), and the Police Trust Fund. 4 years down the lane, there is much to be desired with regards to fighting crime and addressing the challenges that are inherent in the force. Stakeholders, while admitting that there are challenges, are unanimous in their expectations on the next police affairs minister who will take up the mantle.
Our own idea is that if you have somebody with a security sector background, it will be more effective to have them man. I have never heard of a retired police chief man the Ministry of Defense.
We have a lot of problems facing the Nigerian police. With anybody that is going to be the Minister of Nigerian Police Affairs, will have to think outside the box. We'll have to find a source of generating revenue for the police outside the national budget.
The Nigerian police require a very well-informed minister that has a lot of the details of the Nigerian police. What are they set up for? What do they need? What are the gaps? And what can make them, to be propelled up?
Another aspect that they want the new minister to look into is the Nigeria Police Force Trust Fund.
We need a firm minister and a firm board of the management of the trust fund that will come and say we must get it right.
We also need a very, very progressive police that is well equipped. We have the brain in the police. We have the leadership in the police.
The training colleges of the force is another area that they believe should be accorded the attention it deserves.
The current facilities that we have is grossly inadequate. So we need to give it a legal framework, an institutional backing, so that we can have enough facility to train more.
Some of the training institutions that some of us used to handle is the mobile police training in Goza. If they are equipped, I can assure you that the Nigerian police will be able to handle internal wrangles, internal challenges.
They also advise the next police minister to be firm as a supervisor and make sure he builds on the successes of the last administration. Francis from NTA News.
Meanwhile, Niger State government says it has fully adopted the disaster risk reduction mechanism to minimize flood devastation caused by the annual flood experience in the state. State Deputy Governor Yakubu Garba stated this when he paid a courtesy visit on the management of the National Emergency Management Agency in Abuja. Ilyasu Yakubu reports.
Niger State has been one of the states most devastated by the annual flood disaster across the country. This meeting with NEMA, the deputy governor says, is to further strengthen collaboration to reduce the risks of flooding being experienced annually in the state. He said the state has taken note of all strategies extended to them by NEMA, and work has already commenced on the clearing of drainages, evacuation of residents in flood-prone areas, as well as sensitization of the general public on the United Nations Disaster Risk Reduction Mechanism.
We have actually sensitized our people to know that actually this very flooding may likely be different from the other one we have witnessed.
Director General of NEMA, Mustafa Habib Ahmed, commended Niger State for the steps taken so far and promised to speedily render assistance.
We can see seriousness. The states are becoming more proactive.
The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has been emphasizing the need to adopt the United Nations Disaster Risk Reduction Model, which is hinged on proactive measures to mitigate disasters. In Abuja, Ilyasu Yakubu, NTA News.
Still on risk management, the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has donated anthrax vaccines to the University of Abuja as part of the campaign against the zoonotic disease, anthrax. This follows the institution's vaccination of animals within the vicinity of the university. Musa Aliu reports.
Livestock breeders, butchers alongside most Nigerians were in a state of panic when a case of anthrax was detected in the country. The first outbreak was detected in Niger and other 2 cases in Lagos State. Under the disease control guidelines, all animals farms within 12 kilometers radius of the affected farm must be vaccinated.
Because it's a zoonotic disease, a disease that can be transmitted from animals to humans, it's of public health importance. So it's important that people are aware.
This therefore brought about this exercise in the premises of the University of Abuja.
And within the university community, we have not less than about 5,000 to 10,000 animals spread across this area. And our target is that by the time we flag it off today, we will go all out after them.
Create education and awareness around anthrax so that we can demystify the disease and also make our public aware of how to be conscious and how to control and protect themselves against anthrax.
100,000 doses of the vaccine have earlier been donated to Niger and Lagos states by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security in partnership with the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations.
It is my absolute pleasure to receive the 800 doses of vaccination from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture to the University of Abuja. Thank you so much for your support as always.
Veterinary officers are of the view that the country has a long way to go in preventing zoonotic diseases as long as abattoirs in the country remain unkept and animals profiling and screened before slaughtering. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
It's time now to join our Lagos Network Center for more reports, and Adiola will be our guide. Hello, Adiola.
Hello, Najatu. The Nigerian Navy says it is committed to collaborating with the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security and other relevant agencies in curbing threats to national security, such as the activities of illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing within the country's maritime domain. The Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ugala, stated this at the handing over of 6 constructed personal boats to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security in Lagos.
The 6 boats, made from glass-reinforced plastic,
with flat-bottom keels, are propelled by 2x85 HP outboard engines and capable of attaining speeds up to 15 knots. Have length overall of 7.5 meters, molded beam of 2.4 meters and draft of 1.5 meters, enabling it to operate and maneuver within the relatively shallow and winding backwaters. The Chief of the Naval Staff said the boats would be used to reach out to riverine communities by monitoring and supporting agricultural activities towards ensuring food security in Nigeria.
I believe that if we continue to further this cooperation, we are going to see a reversal in terms of those illegal activities that affects our food security, particularly fisheries. So we'll redouble our effort and we seek the collaboration of agencies like Lagos State Government and the Ministry of Agriculture and so on in this regard.
While acknowledging the synergy between the Nigerian Navy and the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, the Director, Special Duties in the ministry, noted that the boats would, to a large extent, improve the living standards of the coastal communities in the country.
We are ready to collaborate with other states and stakeholders to ensure that these irregular activities that is happening on our waterways are reduced to the very, very minimum.
The boats, constructed locally by the Naval Dockyard, will be deployed to 5 coastal states in the country. In Lagos, Hingino, John Adams, NTA News.
The Lagos State government has sent out stern warning to those who engage in destroying government infrastructure, especially those installed to safeguard lives and property of citizens within the metropolis. The state government, through its Ministry of Transportation, stated this while putting its foot down on the recent destruction of barriers constructed at the Ojuelegba Bridge. Larry Belay has details.
Hours after Lagos State government erected an articulated vehicle barrier on the Ojuelegba and Alaka overhead bridges to mitigate incessant accidents involving articulated vehicles in the area, the barriers our findings revealed have been destroyed. Lagos residents interviewed said some articulated vehicles ran into the barriers despite the road signs put in place to discourage such vehicles from plying the bridges. The agitated response of this car park bus conductor shows how disappointed he is about the actions of the articulated vehicle drivers.
Very surprised. It's wonder. One trailer is just coming. It's not even a second that they do this thing. That thing just destroy.
Trailers will deliberately move into the barrier and destroy so that they can have access to that part of the road which the government is preventing them from accessing.
To confirm this worrisome development, I went to the Lagos State Ministry of Transportation where I met Mr. Olasukomi Ojowuro, who spoke on the development.
The custody of those trucks is with the states right now as we speak. They can have access to their trucks, and we have now given them a fine, which is the bill for the repairs. And by the time they are able to offset that, then can let them go. But at the same time, we want to ensure that such things does not occur again.
He added that the state government has erected such barriers at strategic routes in the metropolis, and government will not take kindly to anyone destroying its property. In Lagos, Larry Bilei, NT News.
You're still watching the NTA Network News. We'll take some messages now, and when we return, there will be more reports. But do not forget that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. We'll be back to stay.
Nigeria will soon have a digitized postcode and standard national address verification system by October this year, when the Nigerian Postal Service, NIPOST, successfully carries out a pilot test of the postcode area validation exercise in Abuja. This is to achieve an efficient mailing method in line with the federal government's policy on standard national addressing systems. Chimdema Ndubisi reports.
To locate a home, business or organization's address could sometimes be tedious, though not in urban areas, but in rural areas where there is no addressing system. Those in logistics services can relate to this. Well, this is about to change as the Nigerian Postal Service, NIPOST, is on the verge of rolling out our digital postcode and national addressing system. The pilot test of the model, alphanumeric postcode area validation, was carried out in Buhari Area Council, Abuja. Due to its urban and rural nature, validated data from geospatial mapping was accurately verified with data on ground in a process called ground truthing. The innovative solution will also help in census and national planning.
In terms of business development, terrorism, financing, and so many things are happening. We are unable to get them, but if you have all this in place, it will become things of past. Look at banks. Some people go there and give fake address. How do you track them? By the time you are giving address, it will be verified whether you are giving a fake address or not.
Because of the innovative method NIPOST wants to use to solve addressing, students, SMEs, and a lot of youth will be engaged. When you move from one address to the other, if you just change your address in NIPOST, NIPOST will change your address across all databases in the country.
To enable most grassroots to maybe high-level governmental activities across the board. Whenever you order for food and use the what NIPOST is giving as an address code, they can deliver down to your doorstep.
NIPOST did not achieve this alone, but through collaborations with government agencies such as the National Population Commission, whose geodata information was used as foundation for the postcode system, and partners such as NetPost and Avaris World. States and local governments will be engaged in the identification and verification process. In Abuja, Chimdema Ndubisi, NTA News.
Now let's talk business, and Benny Adams is our guide. What's the latest, Benny?
So much in the world of business. Ahead of reports revealing revenues from Nigeria's oil, gas, and mineral resources to be released soon by Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NETI, the agency is seeking partnership with the Bureau of Public Service Reforms for government to reconstitute the Committee for the Full Implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act, the PIA. This was as the Director General of the BPSR, Dr. Arabi Bello, led a delegation to NETI to convince the agency to join the campaign for data protection and management, in addition to support towards the planned review of reforms carried out in the past, as plans for the future are underway.
Leaving the implementation of PIA in the hands of the relevant agencies will not be the best approach. It should be anchored on a plan that is well articulated and well examined by government, and then supported with a white paper that will streamline and clarify how the implementation, because it's a very, very, very comprehensive document and a very most welcome legislation.
We are able to come up with IPPIS, a Treasury Single Account, BVN, GIFMIS. As we are talking to you, we have succeeded in digitalizing public financial management 100%. Data is gold, data is money, data is oil. So we are working with the UK and US government to drive a very sensitive capacity development program on digitalization and understanding the basic skills of digitalization.
And the Central Bank of Nigeria has raised concerns over the increasing rates of illegal financial operators' activities in the country. In a statement, the Central Bank of Nigeria noted that the activities of IFOs portend grave risks to the country's financial system, adding that Many Nigerians have lost their hard-earned money to IFOs in different parts of the country. And to curb the growing trend, the FSRCC urged the public to refrain from dealing with unlicensed or illegal financial operators who lure and defraud unsuspecting members of the public by offering huge returns on investment. It urged Nigerians to verify the licensing status of such companies and schemes on the websites of the CBN, NICOM, PENCOM, and SEC. And taking a look at the stock market, Nigerian equities have advanced gains by 0.46% amid recoveries in some of the week's decliners. At the end of the last weekday of trading on the exchange, a total of 537.6 million shares in 5,893 deals, corresponding to a market value of 9.3 billion naira, were traded. Compared with the previous trading day, today's data shows 67% improvement in volume, 152% improvement in turnover, and 14% improvement in deals. The current market capitalization is 35.2 trillion naira. FBN Holdings recorded the highest volume of 243 million traded shares, followed by Transcorp Nigeria and Guarantee Trust Holding. That is business news. Network News continues with Naja Atu. Naja, take it from here.
Thank you, Benny. Thank you, Benny. Now, known for professional media reportage, the Nigerian Television Authority has continued to receive accolades from different organizations following its improved presence on all social media platforms. The latest being the Director General of the NTA, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembo's induction into the Hall of Fame of the Coalition of Civil Society Network for championing the cause of the organization in line with emerging media trends to meet the objectives of the foremost media organization in real time across Africa. Elizabeth Omori reports.
Professionalism and commitment have been rewarded. The honors became imperative following improved programming on real-time and social media platforms by the NTA, Coalition of Civil Society Network, committed to driving the cause of youth across the nation, says the NTA has continued to promote good initiatives, uniting the nation through quality programs and factual reports.
New team have reformed NTA, not the NTA that we used to know. I will also look at, we're also here to not only to award you, but to look at future collaboration between our organization and NTA.
So I commend the management team, and I could be glad to see that person that is handling that social media team, because at least we are learning. Yes, especially that Twitter. You understand? Because even before the government agencies now release something, you see NTA and the small logo is there, and it shows that it's coming from NTA.
Obviously thrilled, the DG NTA, who was presented with the Outstanding Excellent Service Award, assured that the authority will not relent in encouraging initiatives get towards youth development and national cohesion.
Because it is only through criticisms and observations that we can grow. We are not too big, we have not arrived yet. So there is still need and there is room for improvement. So we'll count on your support. It's very, very important as the stakeholders. So this and so many other things we think collectively we'll be able to do.
The group urges the NTA to sustain the tempo and remain the uniting force for the nation. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
This is the Network News on NTA. Up next is sports, but that will be after the break. Stay tuned. Sports update with Olumide Oguntola is next.
Reactions continue to trail Toby eligibility to compete at the World Athletics Championship scheduled to commence this weekend in Budapest, after it was widely reported by the media that the world champion has been cleared of doping offense, as indicated in a press statement associated with the Athletics Integrity Unit. The decision of a panel of disciplinary tribunal cleared Toby.
From outstanding performances in recent months, it's kind of surprised that people are just finding a way to just tarnish her image.
Assuming that he has missed any of the tests, the period to go and do the test, they could have thought that he actually evaded
such a test. So I want to say congratulations to her, and I want Nigerians to keep calm.
We had our doubts whether she was able to going to be cleared and all that, but we are very excited, that she has finally been cleared.
In football, ahead of the 2023-2024 CAF Women's Champions League WAFU B qualifiers in Benin City, slight adjustment has been effected following the withdrawal of Niger Republic. Paul Umukago reports that a fresh draw indicates that Cote d'Ivoire Atletico FC is in Group B with the qualifiers scheduled for Sunday, 20th August 2023. Nigeria's representatives, Delta Queens, leads Group A. In the meantime, Governor Godwin Obaseki has urged Benden Insurance to put in their best by defeating Asoclef of Algeria in Saturday's first leg at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium. In the English Premier League, it is match day 2 across designated stadia this weekend, as club sides are set to correct the flaws noticed in the league opening matches. Manchester City will hope to continue its winning runs against Newcastle United with Erling Haaland on fire. Manchester United will play away to Tottenham with a different approach to avoid defeat. Fulham takes on Brentford as Liverpool will lock arms with Bournemouth, among other matches. With Sports Updates, Olumide Guntola, NT News.
The House of Representatives is working with the Nigerian Army to establish a military unit in parts of Zaria prone to banditry to contain insecurity in the area. The Speaker, House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas, stated this during a condolence visit to the Emir of Zazzau, Malam Nuhu Bamani. Suraj Abdullahi reports.
Speaker of the House of Representatives Abbas Tajuddin, while delivering the condolence message of the House of Representatives and the entire National Assembly, says they sympathize with the Zazzau Emirate Council, families of the victims and the entire people of Zaria, praying to Allah to grant the departed eternal rest. On the bandit incessant attacks on Zaria, the Speaker says engagement is ongoing with the leadership of the Nigerian Army on the establishment of military units in the affected areas to secure lives and property. The Speaker was in company of other members of the House who have also declared support in the renovation of the mosque. Emir of Zazzau, Malam Ahmad Nuhu Bamali, appreciates the leadership and the entire National Assembly for identifying with them at this trial moment. From Zaria, Suraj Abdullahi, NT.
And that concludes the news on NTA. Thanks for watching. I'm Najaa Atutajani.